Welcome, Smite fans, to the second last week of the thirds of the Smite Oceania Pro League. All four teams for the Split 3 finals have been decided. What's on the line now is how they sort themselves out. And for the final two teams, this is just kind of a learn what you can from the top teams kind of 2 weeks left. First matchup tonight we have is Team Pandamonium taking on Corvidae. Pandamonium, searching for that #1 seed, need to basically win all their games and hope Avant drops one. We might see that later as Avant take on Legacy, but first, Pandemonium versus Corvidae, Biggie. On paper, this seems very one-sided.
Yeah, it is, but I think, there's a chance for an upset here, like a very small chance, but I think right now is the biggest chance for that upset. Panda, all four teams are set for LAN. Panda's guaranteed at LAN. If there's ever going to be an upset, it'd be now, just when these top teams kind of maybe slack off a little bit or not take the games as serious as they should be. So it'll be interesting to see if Corvidae do put up a fight.
All right, let's go ahead and get started with the picks and bans here in just a second. New patch, we had a little bit of it last week, but I think a bit more of a chance for people to get used to the new pick. Scylla appears to be kind of the top pick at the moment. We saw that a little bit we saw that a lot actually last week with Pandas taking on Avant. The Scylla pick from iDivine tore through them pretty well there. Do you expect to see Pandemonium ban that one out against Corvidae?
I would expect it, since it's a major comfort pick for especially Desecrator. I think iDivine sort of showed up on it last week. It's always been Desecrator's god, and I also know that if Pandas are predicting them to play something, Ro doesn't mind kind of countering that rather than kind of baiting them into the pick.
All right, first bans coming through. Terra and Freya banned by Team Pandemonium. Athena banned out by Corvidae. Last ban with Corvidae. Jingwei, interestingly, not banned, as it's going to be Ratatoska taken away here. So Jingwei, open for the first time in about 2 weeks in OCE. Wouldn't be surprised to see Maxon pick that one up early. He is a big fan of Jingwei.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but it also leaves, a lot of strong picks like Raijin, Erlang open. So I'd hope to see an Erlang here for Corvidae, and then maybe something just to burst mid, maybe the Scylla just on top of that, just to have their, their mid jungle. Or I mean, of course you can flex that pick just on down already.
And there we see the Erlang through the Soul. So this is a bit of a flex pick for Corvidae here. Can go mid or ADC. Both Puremai and Desecrator have played that one before. The Erlang Shen as well. We've seen in the SPL group stages as a little bit of a flex pick himself. Can be played support or solo. I've even heard some whisperings of Erlang jungle. Bacchus and Ra now picked up for Team Pandemonium. So Panda's really obviously paying attention a lot to kind of what's been going on in the SPL group stages, where Ra's just been a really powerful pick because of that sustain.
Yeah, well, yeah, I also like Bacchus. I mean, I think last week versus Avant, we saw Pandas, pick Terra twice, and as strong as a pick Terra is that catering to Richard's playstyle. We've always seen on it since way back on Slap and Tick, seen him on these Ares, the Bacchus, the Sobek. Good to see him back on the Bacchus, I guess.
Odin picked up here by Corvidae. I like this pick, considering the Ra's going to have pretty much no escape from that ring, or if someone wants to pick up a Phantom, it's a sacrifice of a relic spot. So that's more than likely going to be a jungle Odin, considering Erlang's already been picked up. Could be solo and Erlang jungle or something weird like that, but I really think it's going to be the Odin jungle. Honbats banned away by Corvidae. Scylla, we see the ban now from Pandemonium taking that away. Last couple of bans coming through. Still have a jungler yet to be picked for Ro here, so Corvidae looking to take away some of his strengths, and there we go. We see they take away the Naja. And Team Pandemonium, I'm guessing they're going to look to either target out an ADC or a mid here with their last ban. We're going to take away the Guan Yu instead, so I guess that neither Erlang or Odin is in the solo lane?
Like the Odin pick. I mean, obviously, a role, playing Erlang and support, maybe their expect could be flexed 3 ways. But I do like the Odin, especially with the Ra, and now with the Vulcan on top, Cheetah's thinking right now, I've got a bit of a target on my head for the first, 10 minutes of this game till I can get, maybe a Warlocks or my Helm online. So, Corvidae come in with a plan, and, they're trying to counter Pandemonium's draft, so I like that.
Some would Kong and Thor picked up for Team Pandemonium. Some would Kong to give Kikimiya a little bit of an easier time in lane than he would otherwise have with maybe another solo laner. Thor, some great setup for Ro and Achita. And Sobek picked up here by Corvidae. So I'm not going to make any guesses as to how this team comp's going to play out. We'll just have to go in game and see that. But the Jingwei from Team Pandamonium, I do like that that pickup because it's just such a strong pick. It's one of the most winningest gods in Smite right now in the OCE scene and in the international scenes, and it just provides so much damage and so much mobility. It's really hard to lock her down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the Jingwei pick. I'm just maybe the Erlang may have been a stronger pick right now, especially since all the success it had on them. I guess Pandas have got a plan and they're sticking to it.
All right, so looking at the team compositions here, it's going to be Erlang support, Odin jungle, and Sobek solo. So why do you think they've put the Sobek in solo rather than the Erlang, or why do you think they put Erlang in support rather than the Sobek? Like, what does that say about Corvidae's team comp? And it's just stronger in those roles?
Maybe, I'm not sure. I mean, using a sub again, maybe Lone Wolf's a bit more of a warrior player than a guardian player. Maybe they just want that touch more setup, that instant setup. The pin's really strong, and now we saw it paired mainly with the Ra on LAN in the SPL. Maybe he just kind of wants to be able to have that early guaranteed damage, whereas the Sobek's kind of, more setup and less guaranteed damage on the ult. Maybe they just want to really, punish a cheater early.
I'm looking at Ochita here. He's actually gone for a tiny trinket start other than a helmet start. So, he's not terribly worried about that Odin damage, I suppose. But a tiny trinket on Ra seems a little bit of redundancy to me because of his great self-heals.
Yeah, I also like playing into this Odin and this Erlang early. Kind of a ballsy move, I guess. I would have expected him to rush the Helm. And that's probably a reason why we could have seen the Sobek, He's fairly safe with this Aegis into the Erlang and the Vulcan and the Odin early. He's not really forced into the beads. Maybe a Sobek would have put him in 2 mines and just maybe put him under a bit more pressure than just this Odin is with the Vulcan, with the Aegis as well.
Alrighty, so a lot of wards here early for Corvidae leading between their duo lane and the mid lane, so we could look to see some rotations coming out of this Erlang fairly early. You were mentioning just before how the pin that Erlang provides, we saw on the SPL stage, was a really great setup for the Ra, but just in general, it's such a tremendous form of CC. It cripples and roots you if you hit by the center of it, which makes it nearly impossible to get out without beads. Right, mid lane, Ro and Ochita are both level 5. Same with Desecrator and Trilogy. Would expect to see some kind of a gank coming through soon. Maybe with the Thor and the Ra. Looks like Ro's actually rotating over to the solo lane, clearing up some earlies with Kiki and Mio. But Kiki between 3 people, bull forms out, gets caught by the Sobek, up into the Somersault Cloud. He should be fine here. Trilogy does have his cage available, so Kiki and Mio needs to be careful about where he comes down. And Corvidae back away there. That could have potentially been a free kill for Corvidae there since Kiki, his ultimate was down. No mana left at the end. Healing reduction is 100% inside that Odin cage. Would have been very difficult for him to get out if they had stuck around. Alright, buffs getting started up here. Cheetah clearing the mid wave. Seems like we're having a couple of technical difficulties here, folks. We're going to go take a short break and be back in just a moment. Hi guys, we are back. Thank you very much for your patience during those issues. We were just saying before, Biggie, how Kiki Amir nearly fell down there, but Trilogy actually backed away when he had an Odin cage. Kiki, he was in his ultimate form, no mana left. He'd been caged in there by Trilogy with Desecrator right behind him and Cryopraetor there as well. That looked like a pretty free Sun Wukong to me.
Yeah, I think could have probably taken.
All right, looking now, 4 minutes 20 of the game already.
So
Significant
would have
difference.
liked to have seen.
Oh, there we go. You're back. You cut out there for a second.
Alright, I'm not sure what's going on, sir.
That's all right. Yeah. So what were you saying, Vicky? Since none of us heard you.
I was just saying I would have more have liked to see them. You know, I'm a bit surprised that the Erlang and the Soul actually lost lane pressure, which may have, you know, probably a big loss for them there, because I would have liked to have seen them, you know, with this Odin, with the Blink, pressure this Ra. You know, the whole purpose of the Odin here is to, you know, punish the Ra early and obviously later in team fights. I would have liked to have seen a bit more aggression around mid rather than kind of just, I don't know, playing around with Kiki. You know, Kiki's that kind of player. He likes to bait you and kind of just waste your time in the solo lane.
Trilogy cops a double tap there from Roan. Nothing doing though in terms of kill potential here between these two. And you know, so thus far been a pretty quiet match as we're 5 minutes in. But as I was saying before, looking at the graphs, you can already see Pandas pulling ahead. 2,800 experience, 1,800 gold in the lead already. And that's, you know, from early camps, from mid camp control, and I think a couple of back camp invades as well. Not even a kill on the board as of yet.
No, it seems like Corvidae are just playing a bit scared. I mean, look, it's Cryo getting low in the solo lane.
Smashes him there with a magic cudgel. Cry does have his ultimate available. Kiki Amir goes up into the somersault cloud, comes down and lands onto Cryopraetor, who didn't use his ult there, interestingly enough. And Kiki Amir gets first blood for Team Pandamonium. And I don't really know what to say. Corvidae already finding themselves significantly behind, and we're not even 6 minutes in.
Yeah, it seemed like you just unfamiliar with the character. Maybe he thought he had more clear potential than the Wukong, and just got himself a bit poked out. And then I don't know if the ult would have saved him there. Maybe he hasn't really got any protection, so the percent of extra protections wouldn't have really helped him there. But again, just outplayed, I guess. I'm not sure.
Mid lane, that was really unfortunate for Trilogy. He blinked in and he missed the cage out of Cheetah, who just simply walked away from the fight there. There was potential there with Desecrator and his ultimate up as well, but unfortunately, Corvidae unable to pull off that little maneuver there. But now, Odin cage down for a little bit. This is a chance at Team Pandamonium to perhaps get aggressive here in the middle lane. Maybe invade the red buff. They do have a ward on that, so they know when Corvidae are going to be doing it. We can see 3 members of Corvidae going for it. Cheetah and Richard Castle looking to disrupt them here, possibly to invade. Cheetah hanging around the corner, but the red buff is already dropped. Nothing doing here for Team Pandamonium, who are playing not cautiously, but carefully. Kiki Mio fighting too. Did they take the speed?
They took the speed, and I mean, Cryo's getting quite poked. They may go for the blue. No, they're happy just to reset, take the speed, and you know, their whole jungle's up, mid camp's coming up, just keep taking that win. And I mean, they're already 2.5k up with just a first blood in 7 minutes.
Bro, up into the sky here. Richard Castles comes down as well. Intoxicate. Cryo taken low. Kiki Amio with the somersault cloud. Cheetah claims one with the celestial beam. There's the cage from Odin. 2 members trapped within there. It's Ra and the Sun Wukong, but really, Pandemonium come off best again in that fight. Cryopraetor falling down for a second time here. I mean, it seems like Corvidae came into this game behind. It's like Pandas came in and already had a lead. That's the way this game seems to have gone, and the way Corvidae seem to be playing.
Yeah, it can be, obviously, you know, I think they've got 3 wins this split. It can be quite intimidating to play, you know, the second seed team at the moment. And I guess that was just a bit of an experience there. Like, Ro and Kiki back off, they hear the bird bomb and they think, okay, he's sort of half cleared the blue and now he's got no cooldowns. We're kind of free just to walk in and he's got no cooldowns for the next 13 seconds. So maybe, and I mean, then out-rotated by Richard, you know, Richard kind of being there before Lone Wolf. Just, I don't know, just inexperience maybe, lack of communication.
Or a combination of all of them. Of the above. Alrighty, 8.5 minutes into the game, 5,100 experience, 3,400 gold is Team Pandemonium's advantage, as well as the 2 kills they have on the board, both onto the solo lane of Cryopraetor. Corvidae, hope is not lost. Obviously, it's only 8 minutes into the game, or nearly 9 minutes. The Vulcan late game can do a tremendous amount of damage, and still the Wombo combo still can do a lot of work, even towards the later stages of the game. They just need to make sure that they don't get their buffs, don't get their back camps continually invaded, and they need to contest these mid camps. And it's one thing I've noticed that the lower tier teams don't tend to do, the higher level teams, is contest the mid camps. Left hand side, Maxon pushing up a fair way here, gets pinned in, uses their airstrike, dashes away. Trilogy blinks in and gets the cage down onto Maxon, who jumps up into the air. Rowe comes crashing down as well. Supernova ult used by Pure Might. Richard Castle jumps in. Maxon claims the kill. Excellent counter engagement here for Pandamonium. Trilogy nowhere to run. Richard Castle body blocks him and smacks him over the head with his meat. Down falls the Odin. Excellent work by Pandamonium. Ocheetah's here now. Snipe comes through. Down falls Pure Might. Desecrator launches the Earthshaker over the wall, but hits no one. Team Pandamonium claim themselves 3 kills for none.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, he's using his blink, you know, and he's behind to kill the Jing away. I'm just not sure if they're sticking to their original plan, and it kind of punishing them. You know, they're not getting anything out of this Odin with the blink, and the rotations by Panda are just far too superior.
As well, speed buff being taken again by Team Pandemonium. Trilogy looking to contest it here. The Wrath from Rowe is good enough to secure it. And look, the blue buff's getting invaded now as well. Everything's being stripped away from Corvidae. Not much they can do, really, because they've already put themselves in an 8,000 experience hole, which is really difficult to fight into at 10 minutes. Everywhere, across the board, everyone is down on their opponent by about 2 levels, it looks like.
And maybe if the roles were reversed.
Alright, so yeah, we're having some issues with his internet. We'll just carry on for now. Hopefully he can get it sorted. 11 minutes into the game here. I was just saying, a tremendous lead already built up by Team Pandemonium. And everyone just about 2 levels up on their lane opponent here. Castle jumps in, Trilogy jumps over, Snipe comes through from Ocheetah and does a lot of damage to Desecrator. Earthshaker comes through, Ocheetah manages to get to the edge of the cage and survive that one. So even the Odin cage, the strategy that Corvidae had all along, isn't even working for them. Rowe knocked up there, great Celestial Beam by Ocheetah, gets Cryo Predator low, Kikyomiya's rotated in as well. Tiger Stun comes through, Cryo forced to be lurking in the waters. Rowe's chasing Trilogy still, picks him up with a basic attack. The Hydra's Lament passive there, doing a lot of work, giving him the extra damage needed. Left-hand side, Maxon's taking Pure on in a 1v1 and has already pushed him under the tower. Pure, he's in his Disapparate form, has been used already, and he's just getting completely out-pressured by this Jingwei.
Alright, I think I'm alive.
Alright, you good?
I think so, let's hope so.
Okay. So, 12 minutes in, 10,000 experience. What do you do with your Corvidae?
I mean, I think you ask for the rule to be changed to 10-minute surrenders, because it's been a pretty rough split for them. It's like when they were playing Avant, you can't really do much. You've got an Odin 3 levels behind with a blink. You've got not much follow-up. I mean, yeah, you've got the Vulcan and the Soul, but is Ocheetah going to be locked down hard enough by a Sobek to not be able to Aegis that damage? I think it's a matter of just, you know, as they, again, go for the gank.
They can't do anything. Do you think? I mean, you said they had the game plan of the Odin to punish the Ra, but we saw before he blinked onto the Ra, and Ocheetah was still able to avoid most of the damage. It seems to me like this Odin pick, wasn't worth it. We've seen a lot of SPL teams ban the Odin away from certain players, but I don't think the Odin pick itself is necessarily that strong. If you're not even able to punish the most immobile target on the team and basically counter half of his kit, what's the point of even picking the Odin?
I think the idea was, I have a lot of respect for the idea, you know, they picked the Ra. They said, okay, let's pick the Odin, this is the plan. It's just 100% the execution. I mean, we've seen 2 ganks on a Jingwei from behind, so he's forcing his blink and trade for an ult. It's just not the right strategy. And, you know, even if you make the mistake a couple of times, you know, come back to it, stick to your plans, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You move on to the next game and, you know, think of something better.
Right, Gold Fury taken by Pandamonium. Row forced low, but actually managed to get into the sky here. Trilogy taken low, Sprint popped as well. Row still choosing his target here. Chooses to come back down into the Soul Ultimate, but manages to teleport himself away with Mjolnir's attunement. Before that, we saw a snipe from Ochita, max range, but that's just so standard for him. It's not even really worth commentating about. Middle lane now, 4 members of Team Pandemonium here for the push. They got a full minion wave. Max are diving in very aggressively now. Pure Might doing a lot of damage. Here's Trilogy looking to punish Ochita. Actually gets a good cage down. Where's the follow-up though? Trilogy falls to the Celestial Beam from Ochita. Ochita moving side to side, avoids all of the damage coming through from Corvidae. And now the sustain. This is the nastiness of the Team Pandemonium team composition. Ochita was a quarter health there. Now he's nearly back to full HP. And everyone on the team's ready to siege down this tower. Corvidae, really not much they can do about it either.
No, I mean, and this is what happens if you can't shut down the Ra. Yeah, the Odin's a hard counter, but I mean, the Odin from behind, he just, I mean, as you see, Cheetah's just literally juking in these circles. He's just popping his 2 and just running around and juking half of their damage.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, if you're going to lock him in the Odin cage, you should have another form of hard CC just to keep him in place, or just at least have some kind of damage that's unavoidable while in the cage. Like a Zeus ult. Like, yes, you have the Vulcan ult to slam down on top of the cage, but it can be dodged and it takes a while. A Zeus ult, at least, is very difficult to get away from it, or it works much better with the Odin cage, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean Pandemonium, 10k up, just about. Gonna reset, farm their jungle. I'd like to see them force a Fire Giant here, just really, you know, push home. They wouldn't have been happy with the way they performed against Avant, so maybe this is a bit of like, you know, let's kind of put some exclamation marks on these games, because Avant have been beating these teams, you know, in 14 minutes. You know, let's show that despite losing, we can kind of, in comparison, shut out games as strongly as they can.
And Maxon fighting Lone Wolf here. He's 6 levels up on the support Erlang Shen at this point. Pure Might's here as well, but Maxon's happy to take this fight, just trading back and forth. He's got a fully stacked Devourer's Golem, so his lifesteal is going to be a lot here. His lifestealing for 46 a hit here on these minions, so he's going to be very difficult to take down. Odin Cage used the mid lane as well. Ochita and Ro just, you know, more than happy to stand there and just in the cage, because they know there's nothing really that Corvidae could do to them even inside the cage. Ochita's got his Aegis off cooldown, so he's absolutely fine. Richard Castle, excellent jump over the wall, catches Lone Wolf out. Richard gets the kill with the Belch. Left-hand side tier 1 tower falls. Kiki Amiro's invading a speed buff as Cryopraetor jumps around. He uses his own Wrath there. Wrath by Cryopraetor in place, but Kiki claims the speed buff still. Left-hand side tier 2 is now the fight. Ro up into the sky, looking for a target. Trilogy standing still because he knows there's nothing he can do. Ro's still just standing there up in the sky like a sentinel, making sure no one from Corvidae can come in. Full minion wave here. This is a tier 2 tower easily. Yeah,
I'd be a bit of tilt. I don't know, you kind of, I guess I get the game's over, but they're kind of just standing around, and you'd at least want to give it, you know, something, you know, try and just build some morale, you know, try and just win one team fight, go heading into game 2. But this is just classic Pandas, you know, you had a Cheetah and Ro forcing in mid lane, duo lane forcing in duo lane, they rotate, Kiki sits in his lane all day, doesn't rotate.
And, you know, Kiki, he's doing quite well for himself for not rotating. He's taken the 1 tower, took the speed off. Now he's about to take the tier 2 tower. Desecrator and Trilogy probably going to be able to prevent him from clearing the entire tower, but still, Kiki Amiro, 201, level 19, highest in the game. I do like the early Genji's guard from him here. He's got it, obviously, because he was laning against the Sobek, so some magical protection, some cooldown reduction, but its passive is really the most important part of this item. When you take magical damage for abilities, your cooldowns are reduced by 2 seconds. And while this can only happen once every 30 seconds, that's still a great passive to have. And when there's so much magical damage on the enemy team, you're pretty much going to be continuously rocking that.
It also, you know, matches his playstyle. You know, he's kind of one to in his lane and, you know, force these mass rotations to his lane. And kind of with that, you know, I don't know if he's taking the magic damage, he can kite more, you know, it's more bird forms, more ultimates with the passive of the item.
Alright, Pandamonium looking to siege up the tier 2 tower. Minions are here. Maxon jumps up to get that attack speed increase. Ro going into the sky, looking for a target here, just particularly using it almost as a zoning ult. Lone Wolf gets a 3-man taunt. Ro actually crashes down behind onto Trilogy, who's looking to flank the team. He's got a shield. Ochita just barely misses with that Celestial Venus snipe, just barely off the mark as well. In fact, it was actually on the mark, but out of range just ever so slightly. And now Pandamonium, they've taken the tier 2 tower on the right. Let's go for the tier 2 tower in the mid lane. What's free then? We've got Vision all on that side of the map. How about a Fire Giant?
Yeah, this is where I'd like to see the Fires, compared to an Avant or, a Legacy who kind of, they're a bit more riskier in their play. Not, obviously not that there's like a massive risk now, but they're kind of just resetting sieging for the mid, whereas I think if they had just fell back to Fire Giant, they could have secured the Fire Giant fairly freely, with the Wrath, and then push this tower, following that.
Alrighty, well, they're still going for this tower here. All five members of Pandemonium Group, that they're actually choosing to disengage here rather than fight under a relatively healthy tier 2. Kiki and Mio perhaps looking to force out the fight. Yeah, they're looking to force the fight over the red buff here, and Corvidae have fallen into their trap brilliantly here. Aegis by Desecrator uses the Earthshaker, but does next to no damage to anyone as Ochita claims the kill on his enemy mid laner. Cryopraetor lurking in the waters does some damage, but again, it's not enough. Excellent wall by Rogue, catches the end part of the dash from Cryopraetor. He knocks up all 5 members there, but Richard Castle knocks him up and knocks him into the ground. That's the death of the solo laner, and now Pandemonium can look to strip the jungle away from Corvidae. I guess then they might reset or take the Gold Fury and then look for Fire Giant.
Yeah, I mean, surrender vote started. This game might not go much longer, but I think Corvidae kind of, as the
surrender vote
surrender goes through. I think Corvidae, maybe that was their last ditch. They kind of got away with the fact that Pandas didn't force too much. I think they could have forced the Fire Giant. Now, okay, let's just catch them. They don't think we're going to fight them here. But you saw the perfect wall by Ro, catches Desecrator, and that's just the pick and the fight, really, and the game.
Alright, we're going to go to a short break here, and we'll be back with game number 2 between Team Pandemonium and Corvidae.